just last week in this space, I told you not to overreact to week 1. Well, we can jump on the panic button with both feet now. In Columbus, Ohio, they have likely destroyed that button after Oklahoma ran Ohio State out of the horseshoe in a 31-16 win. The Buckeyes' issues in the passing game were fully exposed, but particularly concerning was how easily the Sooners moved the ball in the second half. It was an impressive performance by Oklahoma, and we are now left wondering about Ohio State. The current college football playoff projection reflects those thoughts. The Sooners are in at number 4, while the Buckeyes are out. I still have Ohio State projected as the Big Ten champion, but only because nobody else is really overwhelming at the moment. Michigan struggled with Cincinnati after beating a depleted Florida squad in week 1. Penn State struggled to move the ball against Pitt for most of the game, but was never really threatened. Ohio State has 3 games coming up where it should be able to work out its problems. If the Buckeyes cannot beat Army, UNLV and Rutgers soundly, they have a few more losses coming. Clemson beat Auburn 146 on Saturday night to solidly establish itself as a playoff contender. Clemson's defense certainly looked playoff-worthy against Auburn. It gets another huge test this week at Louisville, where Lamar Jackson will try to put up some more video game numbers. He lit up North Carolina for over 500 yards of offense this week. Obviously, Clemson will be a tougher challenge. It moved up to the number 2 seed in the CFP projection this week because I believe it will end up with a better strength of schedule than USC. The Trojans took care of Stanford 42-28 to start PAC 12 play 10. It looks like USC may have already played its toughest conference opponent. Washington and Oregon are not on the Trojans' regular season schedule. 2018 College Football Playoff January 8 National Championship Atlanta 8 p.m. ESPN Title Game Semi-Final Winners Jan. 1 Rose Bowl Pasadena, California 5 p.m. ESPN Semi-Final 2 Clemson vs 3 USC January 1 Sugar Bowl New Orleans 845 p.m. ESPN Semi-Final 1 Alabama vs 4 Oklahoma Selection Committee Bowl Games January 1 Peach Atlanta 12:30 p.m. ESPN Atledge vs Atledge Georgia vs South Florida December 30 Feast Glendale, Arizona 4 p.m. ESPN Atledge vs Atledge Washington vs Wisconsin Deck 30 Orange Miami 8 p.m. ESPN ACC vs Big Ten Second Florida State vs Ohio State Deck 29 Cotton Arlington, Texas 830 p.m. ESPN Atledge vs Atledge Oklahoma State vs Penn State. Hurricane Irma has made a significant impact on the college football schedule. Florida Atlantic was the only FBS school from the Sunshine State to play its game as scheduled, which was at Wisconsin. Few moved its game against Alcorn State to Birmingham, Alabama. Miami, Florida State, Florida, UCF and South Florida all cancelled their games, home and away. Furthermore, next week's Miami-FSU clash has been moved to their mutual bye week, October 7. That means the Hurricanes and Seminoles will now have 3 weeks between their first and second games. That could be a positive for Florida State as it is working to get backup quarterback James Blackman ready to replace injured starter DeAndre Francois. Blackman's first start will now be against North Carolina State on September the 23rd. None of the cancelled games are expected to be made up, although the ARC is still examining some options for UCF and USF. It is unlikely that the cancellations will impact the CFP race or New Year's 6 game berths. I would not expect, for example, Florida State to be treated any differently by the committee simply because it did not get a chance to beat Louisiana Monroe. If any of these teams find themselves on the edge of bowl eligibility though, the missed game could come into play. Teams need 6 wins to be eligible, whether they play 12 games or 11. I'm currently projecting there to be 75 bowl-eligible teams, which is 3 short of what is needed to fill 39 bowl games, so I have 357 teams in the current projection. Those teams are determined by the most recent APR scores of the 57 teams. The top 3 teams in the APR that are projected to be 57 are Duke, Indiana and Michigan State. Click here for my entire slate of updated bowl projections after Week 2.